What's up, everyone? It's been a long time since we were out in the shed. Um, Weather's finally breaking here. I don't have to run the propane heater, so it's pretty nice now. Um, but yeah, we finally have some movement on some new projects. The biggest thing is the fuel systems. So everybody's been waiting for these pretty much forever. And it's just been a rough year trying to get materials, get parts designed and built, but we're here now. So yeah, what we have in front of me is we have some piping that will be finished welding tonight. These are going to be parts of what I'm going to offer as a kind of hard parts kit for running a blow-off valve. If you want to run a VTA blow-off valve on your car, like a tile or HKS, something like that. And that will also be relocating the MAF to the cold pipe itself. So we'll be in here. A few reasons for that. I've been running the turbo kit on my car for 25,000 miles or so, and I'm still running a MAF on that car right now. I ran at speed density for a long time without really any issues, other than there was a little idle issue that I didn't like, and it was the only thing that I couldn't correct, really, no matter what I did in the tune. And that annoyed me, and so I then went and I hooked the MAF back up. I started tuning it back, blended again, did MAF only, did the speed density only for a long time, and then went to blended. Got that running really well again, but still had some undesirable kind of little hiccups with idle tuning. So at this point, with the amount of different setups I've had and tried, I'm attributing a lot of that to the fact that I'm running a considerably larger than stock diameter MAF housing. So with my S257, it has a 3.5 inch intake on it, and with that 3.5 inch intake, you're going from a less than 3 inch diameter stock MAF housing to a true 3.5 inch ID MAF housing. And usually when you do that on a car, you can just scale the MAF based on a percentage in increase, and you get pretty close, and you're fine, and everything falls in line. And then it just takes a few MAF calibrations after that to get it dead on. With this car, there's a lot more that's dependent on the airflow model, because your torque and torque management tables are all, your torque calculations are based a lot off of that MAF airflow. So when you skew that to the degree that I have, you don't have quite enough resolution at those real low load and low airflow values, like at idle. You just don't quite have enough resolution to get all the calculations working correctly together, and so it gets a little funky. So that's partly why I wanted to move the MAF to this cold pipe setup, so I could run as big of an intake as I want, not have to go solely speed density. I could still use a MAF, but no matter how big my intake is, my MAF diameter, my MAF housing, is going to be right about the same as the stock diameter housing. So that's a huge reason that I'm doing this. The other reason, though, is because there's a major desire to run VTA, vent to atmosphere blow-off valves on these cars. I've been running one for a long time. Other guys have been as well. On the manual transmission cars, it's not a huge deal. You can tune it out pretty well without really any negative side effects. On the automatics, it doesn't look like it's really able to be tuned out, because what happens is when that blow-off valve releases and you have this kind of rich spike, the computer then tries to compensate for that by leaning things out, and it leans it out when it shouldn't be and for too long before it recovers. All bad things. So what this setup will do is allow you to run any intake, any size intake you want, for any turbo, anything like that. It will also allow you to run a blow-off valve on the car. This will work with stock turbo. This will work with big turbos, bolt-on, hybrids, stuff that bolt on to my manifolds, anything like that. So I think this will be a really nice setup. The other really nice part about it is this this kind of piece of the cold pipe that bolts to the throttle body. This will also be optioned for the 6-port. So this is the big fuel system setup that everybody's been looking for, that I've been running on my car for a couple years. Jonathan has been running on his car for a couple years. It works great. The kind of two ways that this setup is going to be offered, one would be just this elbow. Essentially, if you don't want the blow through MAF setup on it, it'll just be this elbow with a reducing coupler here, and then a coupler for the throttle body, and then your fuel rail assembly will be welded to this elbow. So I'll grab the pipe off of my car later, but same elbow on my car, and that's where my auxiliary fuel rail assembly is welded. So same exact location. The nice thing about that, if you don't have a need for the blow-off valve blow-through MAF setup, but you do want to go with the 6-port, these are all going to be designed for a front mount intercooler setup. I have the ZZP kit on my car. It runs great. It's really a fantastic deal for what you get in the money. So that's really where this design is going to fit. I don't think anybody should be necessarily running the 6-port kit with a stock intercooler. If you're not past the stock intercooler point, you're probably not in the market for the 6-port. So with that said, the 6-port kit that does not opt for for someone who does not opt for the blow through, all you will be doing is replacing your ZZP throttle body coupler, the 90-degree coupler off the throttle body, and you'll be replacing it with basically a straight coupler on either side with this that'll have the fuel rail assembly welded to it. It's extremely simple install. If you do want the blow-through setup, then you'll get this entire pipe here, 90-degree coupler from here to the blow-through pipe, and then you'll actually use the ZZP throttle body coupler flipped around and coming off of the front. So either way, it'll be a really simple install. I'm really excited for it. So I'm gonna get to welding tonight. You can see we have all kinds of silicone couplers here. I have T-bolt clamps. Have a bunch of hose for, this will be for vacuum lines for the blow-off valve. When the kit is fully together and ready, you know, it's going to come with everything, soup to nuts. There will not be anything that that anyone will need to buy to add on to this. So it'll all come together as a kit. A whole bunch of elbows in here and other fittings that we need for the kits. We're just about there. So without further ado, I'm gonna start working, and can't start that without a new beer. This one, wow, I can already smell it from when I opened it. Exotic Matter. It's a series of fruited milkshake IPAs that Arche Brewing does here in Akron. And this one is with strawberry and vanilla beans. Oh yeah, that's good. So that'll go down easy. Let's get working. So I got this finished up about a week ago, a week and a half or so, and then of course it snowed in Ohio because that's what it does in April. But I finally got it on the road and tuning this week, and things are going great. It is incredibly easy to tune compared to the 3.5-inch intake or 4-inch intake that I was running on my big turbo. So this kit will do two things. It'll allow people to run blow-off valves if they want to. It'll also make tuning a lot easier for truly big turbos. And as we get fueling set up, which is a lot of what's going on in front of me right now, but as we get those fueling setups out, a lot more people will be able to run big turbos correctly and effectively. And once they're doing that, you know, this will be a much easier way to go about tuning.
All right, guys, here's some pictures of the process that we went through of creating the blow-through setup, and a little sneak peek of the 6-port that you just saw. So there's where the new MAF location is going to be for the blow-through. There's where the blow-off valve will be located. And here's kind of the entire pipe just mocked up together. And then some finished pictures of the finished welded pieces. This is that bottom pipe with the blow-through. There's about 7 inches of straight pipe before the MAF, so it's really ideal. In that last picture, you could see all the pipes are going to be bead rolled, fully bead rolled, and you'll never pop a coupler off of these. So that's all till next time.